Hi, my name is Ruby Munoz. I'm going to be talking about art's role in helping at-risk youth succeed. So first, we're going to define what an at-risk youth is. So this is defined as a young person who is more susceptible to have behavior problems, resulting in later substance abuse problems, failing grades, dropping out, juvenile delinquency, and mental health disorders. So really, it's a youth that's around more things that are likely to lead them to fail in life if they don't have the proper intervention. So when we talk about risk factors, we're talking about things that affect a child as early as before birth to in the adolescence, so teenage years. So some of the factors that would predisposition a child to be at risk can begin as early as before their birth, as I just stated. So these risks could include genetic dispositions. They could also include syndromes such as fetal alcohol syndrome, which is caused by the mother consuming alcohol while pregnant. There's also the history of family drug use or the parental modeling of drug use, where a child might grow up witnessing their parents consuming drugs, alcohol in an unhealthy way. There's also mental health disorders such as having anxiety, depression, additionally being exposed to child abuse, and also the child themselves having antisocial behaviors. And one, I think, in my opinion, one of the most common ones, socioeconomic disadvantage. The reason why I say socioeconomic disadvantage is because many of these kids don't have the opportunity to be surrounded by extracurricular activities that other kids might be surrounded by, which would expose them to different kinds of people. Over here we have a statistic that says that the number of young children exposed to at least one risk factor is 61%. So going from the risk factors, we talk about protective factors. The protective factors, according to youth.gov, they explain that the protective factors help in preventing at-risk youth from giving in to the environmental factors putting them at risk. So whatever they're surrounded by, putting in these early interventions and protective methods help the students succeed despite what's going on around them. So some of these protective factors include age-appropriate social skills, mastery of communication skills, school engagement, emotional self-regulation, and a high self-esteem. This would be that in spite of everything they're going through environmentally, having the appropriate intervention in any of these or the appropriate school engagement can help these students succeed later on in life. So how can art integration help? According to Jensen, the arts, specifically the dramatic arts, they're most commonly used in expressive play and can contribute to the development of appropriate skills. Dramatic arts can provide a live model for appropriate social skills. If the student does not witness that at home, a play can display how a mother and father should react. The next one is, according to Jensen, in addition to other benefits, the use of music enhances people's ability to communicate. So music can be used as a form that can be taught to a student to allow them to express themselves, right? Our book states that when we are singing or creating music, we're using different parts of our brain that help us think cognitively, emotionally, and help us have a better memory too, which falls into cognitive. But this allows us to have better words that we have learned in music or express our emotion through the tone of our voice. Lastly, the last one I decided to include was that art can help students achieve emotional balance. And this is because the arts allow kids, people, anybody, the opportunity to express themselves in a way that might have been difficult using words. So some examples, we talked about dramatic play. as I stated before. So that includes playing dress up. This is important, especially in the early ages. If a teacher witnesses like a student having an aggressive reaction to one of the scenarios, the teacher can intervene and redirect the play situation to teach the child what is the appropriate method of playing, and therefore that child will learn that the appropriate method of reacting to something isn't through aggression, but rather through communication or through a calming down method, whatever the teacher chooses to do. And the dramatic arts will help the child in learning those skills. And then we also talked about being emotionally balanced. So all aspects of art, in my opinion, help people become emotionally balanced. We talked about how the use of music can help students learn how to communicate through tone of voice to express their emotions, but also the arts, as in painting, as in a painting. A student can be taught that the colors blue and the color blue means sad and the color red means angry, and they can learn about warm and cool colors and learn how to use them in a way that will express their emotions. And then in integrating them into a lesson, using them to present, the child will be able to not directly convey what they're feeling, but use their art as a form of expression. And lastly, learning an instrument. Learning an instrument can help the children's self-esteem, which is a very important part of early prevention for at-risk youth. Excuse me. If a child has the skills needed to play and the discipline to practice every day, the child will show a high self-esteem that will help them not be so susceptible to peer pressure or to the negative influences around them. And most importantly, in art integration for an at-risk youth is the fact that the statistics show that participation in the arts drop the dropout rate 15%. That means 50% more students graduate with engagement through art. And let's not forget that many of the protective factors can all be supplemented by some type of art. That is all for my presentation. Thank you for listening.